After multiple storms passed through northeastern counties last night, residents are preparing for another storm watch. It's party time in Cleveland as the Browns earned their first win since 2016. And we'll have an in-depth look at local high school football. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Police officer faced headlines for kicking a handcuffed suspect. Now he's facing charges. Good evening, I'm Steven Hernandez. Thanks for joining us. A former Ohio police officer is facing charges after kicking a handcuffed suspect in the head. Former Franklin Township officer Robert Wells was indicted Thursday on deprivation of rights and obstruction counts. Cell phone footage of the May 1st incident shows Wells kicking the 18-year-old male suspect while the handcuffed teen was laying on the ground. Wells was placed on administrative leave and resigned about a week later. Legislative aide and board member of Columbus City Schools is resigning today after two sexual harassment complaints were filed against him. 36-year-old Dominic Peretti was confronted about allegations that he sent sexually explicit text messages to two women in the Ohio House this summer. Peretti also resigned from its board position without explanation. A woman is facing a civil lawsuit for allegedly stealing nearly 2,000 textbooks from EdMap Inc. in Nelsonville. The lawsuit seeks $250,000 from Renee Michael from Albany and Mackenzie Books Inc. from Oregon. The incident was discovered in 2014. Michael, an employee of EdMap, was allegedly selling textbooks in small quantities to Mackenzie and was paid over $90,000 for her efforts. A former Athens County assistant prosecutor is heading to prison for tax fraud. Michael A. Prisley of Columbus was sentenced for participating in a conspiracy to file hundreds of false income tax returns. He also assisted other conspirators in obtaining $250,000 in false funds. Prisley was an assistant prosecutor in Athens County from 2011 to 2014. Prisley will face 12 months and 1 day in prison. Officials are surveying land where several storms passed through last night. Here's a look at some of the damage left behind in Middlefield Township. Geauga County Sheriff's Office says there were wires down and a pole snapped. At least one structure was damaged. The National Weather Service has not confirmed that there was a tornado. There were no injuries reported.
Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. I want to give you an update on severe weather we're having across the area. Don't have this currently behind me as I didn't have enough time to put this in the graphic system, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Franklin County. This includes downtown Columbus, I-70, I-71, and US 23. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Carroll County for damaging winds. This includes the city of Carrollton. So I wanted to give you an update on the severe weather we're seeing all across the area. Meanwhile, this is all due to this cold front over here stretched out Illinois. This is a little further east as we are speaking right now. That will move off to the east and really cool us down tomorrow, but we'll talk about that in a second. First, let's get you through tonight. Scattered thunderstorms all tonight. We have the possibility of seeing some severe weather. Look at this cool down though. 79 at 8, 74 at 10. And by midnight, we're sitting at 74, and it's going to get cooler than that. Here's our convective outlook. This is the severe weather risks. This yellow area, this is the slight risk. Our main risk is damaging winds. We're not going to see any large hail because of the lack of shear to support large hail. We do, however, see an enhanced risk up here in Carroll, Tuscarawas, Jefferson, and Hancock counties in West Virginia. That's where we're seeing the most of the severe weather right now. That's our greatest chance of seeing some severe weather. We also have a marginal risk off to the south and east, basically south and east of the US 50 and State Route 32 corridor. What do all these risks mean? Well, if you're under a marginal risk, you have a 5 to 10% chance, of seeing any type of severe weather within 25 miles of your location. A slight risk, a 15 to 25% chance of seeing any severe weather within 25 miles of your location. And with this enhanced risk, a 30 to 40% chance of seeing any type of severe weather within 25 miles of your location. And again, some areas are seeing that severe weather. This is not updated. Severe thunderstorm warning over here in Franklin County. Severe thunderstorm warning for Carroll County. Jefferson County may be next. We'll keep an eye on that. We also have a severe thunderstorm watch for Coshocton, Muskingum, Tuscarawas, Guernsey, Carroll, Harrison, Belmont, Jefferson, Hancock, Brooke, and Ohio counties. That is until 1 a.m. tonight, and it's all due to these thunderstorms. 60 degrees tonight. Thunderstorms early. Showers will be after midnight. Winds will be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour all across the area tonight. Look at this cool down. 54 in Columbus, 54 in Newark, 56 in New Lexington, 58 in Cambridge. Right here when you see these 60s, that means that cold front really hasn't passed through yet. So as you see this big temperature gradient, 56 in New Lexington, 60 in Athens. Once that cold front gets through, it's going to be much cooler. As we take you throughout your morning planner, overcast clouds pretty much all morning tomorrow, and we only warm you up into the middle 60s. It's going to be a chilly day tomorrow. 63 will be our high. Cloudy in the morning. A possible rain shower or two may come into the area tomorrow afternoon, especially further south. Winds will be out in the northeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Here is the big picture. There's that cold front moved on through tomorrow. These area of high pressures due to that that clockwise flow, that's going to bring in those northern winds, cool us off really. Look at this snow up here in Canada. We're not going to see that anytime soon, but we're going to see this cooler weather up from the north really cool us down. There's our possible rain on Sunday and tomorrow as a stationary front makes its way through. And the extended forecast, look at this pattern change. It will not be in the 80s for the rest of the fall. 72 on Sunday, 67 on Monday with possible rain. Tuesday, rain as well at 75. Wednesday, 69 with more rain. Thursday, we clear you out with partly cloudy skies at 70 degrees. And Friday, look at this, beautiful 68 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Stephen?
Thanks for the weather update, Nick. Ohio University's Innovation Center announced a $99,000 Rural Business Development Grant Award from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The funds will be used to purchase biotechnology equipment. It will be used by private businesses and startups who can't normally afford to use such equipment. West Virginia and 10 other state attorney generals are asking the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration to tighten opioid manufacturing. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrissey's office says the DEA's quotas of demand does not match up with the legitimate need. He says the propelled quotas are still excessive. Meanwhile, most of the Northeast was celebrating last night. The Browns' 21-17 victory against the New York Jets ends a 19-game losing streak. Supporters partied hard both inside and outside First Energy Stadium. The Browns last won a game on December 24th, 2016. Baker Mayfield led the defense after replacing starter Tyrod Taylor before halftime, and it took the Browns from a 2-touchdown deficit to victory. Fans were overjoyed.
I think that everyone was in awe because it's been so long that you're just like, oh, we can do it! This is amazing! We're going to the Super Bowl! Right?
It's been a long ride. It's been a long ride, but we're heading in the right direction.
The win also got Browns fans a great freebie from Bud Light. Free beer was distributed around the city to celebrate the victory. Coming up, we'll take a look at what's happening in local high school football. We'll have power rankings and coaches roundtables next on Newswatch.
Ball is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall,
which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you.
And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage.
So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
It's the 5th week of games for local high school football teams, marking the halfway point in the regular season. Gridiron Glory co-host Noah Wolf and FAC reporter Connor Mills run through the power rankings for the Frontier Athletic Conference.
The Frontier Athletic Conference only has 6 teams, and so far through week 4, they haven't played a single conference game. But we've gotten a pretty good look at these teams outside of conference play, and we think we know how they stand. I'm Noah Wolf, the co-host of this season of Gridiron Glory. I'm joined by FAC reporter Connor Mills, and we're going through this power rankings post week 4. So Connor, let's start at the bottom. Team number 6, who you got?
Well, for team number 6 right now, we have the McLean Tigers. They only have 1 win this season, but it's their first win in over a year, but statistically speaking, 1 win is not going to get them out of the basement of the FAC, so we'll keep them in 6th. Moving on to 5th place, the Miami Trace Panthers. They too already have improved on their season from last season with 2 wins, 1 more than they had from last year. The Panthers with wins over Circleville and Logan Elm. However, just like the Tigers, this will not raise them in the rankings just yet. In 4th place, this might be a little shocker to some people. However, we are placing the Jackson Ironmen here. Jackson, they're 3-1 this season, but their 1 loss came against a Division II Region 8 team in Western Brown. A 42-36 loss for Jackson was Western Brown's first win of the year, and one of the FAC teams already has given Brown a loss, so we'll get to them a little bit later. Right now in 3rd place, this belongs to Washington Courthouse. Up until last week's 57-7 loss to London, the Blue Lions have been an offensive powerhouse. Dylan Stewart already has 13 touchdowns on the season and looks to keep dominating from both sides of the ball. 2nd place, it was alluded to a little bit earlier with Jackson, but this one belongs to the Hillsborough Indians. This was the team that defeated Western Brown, and Hillsborough is currently the only undefeated team in the FAC at 4-0. However, they also have the worst strength of schedule at -23.5. Nonetheless, Hillsborough has been doing the little things right, and they will be put to the test against Claremont Northeastern before entering conference play against our number 1 ranked Chillicothe Cavaliers. The Cavs, they have the toughest conference schedule, strength of schedule, and they have done the most with it. They are the reigning FAC champions, currently with a record of 3-1, their only loss coming to Bishop Hartley. The biggest question for Chillicothe was how do they fill the shoes of Brandon Moffmer left behind. They've responded with 3 people: quarterback Adrian Beverly, wideout Zach Coates, and running back Jaquan Harris. The 3 of them have been stepping up for Ron Hinton, and they will be a big reason should the Cavaliers win back-to-back Frontier Athletic Conference titles.
All right, we've got 1 more week of non-conference play in the FAC, but after that they'll be squaring off against each other. To see these 6 teams in action, tune in to Gridiron Glory Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB. And make sure to keep up with all of our content throughout the week on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as on our website, woub.org/gridiron. For Connor Mills, I'm Noah Wolf.
Gridiron Glory host Blake Baker sat down with coaches during the preseason at Gridiron Glory Media Day. Here's what coaches had to say about their football players doing multiple sports.
I heard you mention too, trying to avoid the guys looking forward to basketball season. How do you guys feel about your guys playing multiple sports? Obviously, these type of, the smaller schools, it's a lot more common, but I know football coaches maybe nowadays are kind of trending away from that. What are your guys' thoughts?
No, I'd like our kids to play all sports. Yeah, I wish I could make the football players either do basketball or wrestle. So just to keep them involved, keep them doing something. Yeah, a lot of them will say, we just want to lift all year for football, but they very seldom do.
Yeah. Well, the skill set most of the time translates to maybe specific parts of the game. If you're playing basketball, your footwork is really well or something. Or wrestling, obviously, certain areas of strength are going to be enhanced like that. So I think a lot of coaches that don't have that mindset, I just get confused kind of as to what they're thinking.
Well, and I think most kids are not going to play college sports, so this is their only opportunity to experience athletics. And so I think it's extremely important that kids play multiple sports. We're fortunate that we set up an early morning weight room before school starts. So those basketball kids, there's no excuse. They can lift weights and they can go play basketball. Same thing for baseball and track and wrestling. Those kids need to be able to compete. Like I said, the weight room's great and we love it. But when you're on the basketball floor, I want my quarterback or my receiver or my running back at the foul line with 2 seconds left to see if he can hit the free throw to win a game, or on the pitcher's mound, against a conference rival, or competing, win and losing. There's not a lot of winning and losing in the weight room in the wintertime. So when you're playing other sports, those kids have to compete and they have to deal with other coaches and that discipline. And I think that for a coach to say any sport, to say I want you to play one sport, is horrible, because those kids need to experience other things. And at the end of the day, now again, there are certain situations where if a kid's a Division I player or he's a college athlete and maybe there's other sports that doesn't fit him, that's fine. But very few kids fall in that category. So they need to experience everything. And at the end of the day, they're going to be a better athlete for that.
Yeah, the adversity, the high leverage type of situations.
Exactly.
You can't just get in 10 weeks really and expect to be a phenomenal competitor. So I totally agree with that, Coach Dean.
I absolutely. I tell you, and my kids will back it all up, because I'll tell you, I preach it constantly that I want my kids playing every sport they can. They got 4 years of high school, and then like Coach Hall said, most of those kids will not go on to the next level. So take advantage of everything you can do in high school at this time, and it all goes over to the next sport. I mean, I've got football players that are coming in, they're in tremendous shape because they've been playing basketball, then they've been playing spring basketball, and you can definitely tell a difference. And I do the same thing weight room wise. I keep the weight room open 2 sessions. I keep it one right after school, then I keep another session after. About 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So all those kids that are playing spring sports, they have that opportunity to come in and still get weight room time in. So, I highly recommend every athlete, playing as much as they can.
I think the coaches of other sports would probably agree with you on that. The discipline kind of instilled in football and being in that kind of shape too is helpful for other sports. So you'd like to think that they have the same type of mindset.
Later, we'll have another coaches roundtable. But coming up next, Gridiron Glow reporter Nick Niehaus discusses TVC Hockey Power Rankings.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
I love PBS because at the heart of everything PBS does is education.
I use PBS not only in my home, but also in my classroom.
It's kind of the idea of being the great equalizer for learning and for education.
I'm a lifelong learner, and PBS has always been part of that journey for me.
I love PBS because PBS supports teachers.
They know what works for kids and what's best for kids, and that's why I love PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you. Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
One local team is last in Gridiron Glory's power rankings after forfeiting due to injuries. TVC hockey reporter Nick Niehaus breaks down the rankings.
We're through 4 weeks of the regular season. Most TVC hockey teams have played 3 conference games, so we've got a pretty good idea of how good these teams are. I'm Noah Wolf, the co-host of the 20th season of Gridiron Glory. I'm joined by Nick Niehaus, TVC hockey reporter. We're going through power rankings. So, Nick, we're starting off with the bottom 3 winless teams. Where do you have them ranked?
So, Federal Hockey, I have them last because last week they actually had to forfeit a game because they didn't even have enough players on the field due to injury. So, because of that, I put them last. And then I give Eastern the edge over Wahama because I just think Eastern's played, tougher competition, so that's why I give them the edge over Wahama.
Couple one-win teams then. How do those two shake out in the middle of the pack?
So at 6, I have South Gallia, and their only win came against Federal Hockey, which is I have them at 6, and then Miller at 5, because I actually think Miller is going to get at least 3 more wins on the season. We've seen what they can do against teams that they have a slighter edge over. Wahama, they beat them 40-0.
All right, now we have who you think are the real contenders. Where's number 4?
Number 4 is Belpre. I really do like this team. They're 2-2 though, but those 2 losses came to Fort Fry and Trimble, who are powerhouses and undefeated. Other than that, their 2 wins against Miller and Wahama were statement wins because they beat them both by double digits. And they have Southern this week, which I think could be a huge game and really can turn their season around. I think this is the biggest game of the year for them. They have a big-time running back with Jesse Collins, who is one of the biggest kids out on the field. He could run you over. And then on defense, Gavin Freeland's an animal. He is everywhere. I'm telling you, this kid's really good.
So then number 3, who you got?
Number 3, I have Southern. They are undefeated. They are 4-0 and have done so in blowout fashion. The closest game actually has been a 30-point victory over Notre Dame. With that being said, their competition so far only has 1 win total. So they'll have their first test of serious competition with Belpre this week, and I do think this team has a shot at the title. Logan Drummer, their quarterback, is a gunslinger and can even be accurate on the run. And you can't forget about Trey McNichol. This kid is a beast. I think he's one of the best in the hockey. Those 2 are a great 1-2 punch and keep the defense wondering what's going to happen. They can score it through the air and on the run. I like this team.
So now we're getting to what everybody's been waiting for, those top 2. Where do you have the 1-2 punch?
So this might sound crazy, but I actually have Waterford at number 2. I have to do that because of that loss against Fort Fry. Other than that, though, they've been perfect. But if you take the Fort Fry game out, their opponents have just 1 win, just like Southern. So I think this team is pretty comparable to Southern too. Peyton Stevens is a great quarterback and has been very successful through the air so far. But I think the difference lies with Braden Belleville. There is no other player like this in the conference. He's been dominating for years and nothing's changed. I still think that game between Waterford and Trimble will be the conference championship. It all just comes down to who plays better that day.
Well, there you go. The Tomcats have to be your number 1 team.
Trimble, they are number 1, and the biggest thing that stands out to me is their defense. They have given up 7 points all year. I'll say it again. Through 4 weeks, they've only given up 1 touchdown. Like the other 2 top teams, I don't think they've seen too much real competition, but they have their chance this week to make a statement win against a Cincinnati school, Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy. Although that team's 2-2, this can be the game that really proves how real Trimble is. It's at least a great tune-up before Waterford the following week, and some players that stand out to me is Max Hooper and Sawyer Coons. Hooper runs the ball, and Sawyer Coons clears the way for him, and he's also the leader on defense. Those 2 players remain consistent, and I think you have your Hawking champion.
Well, there you go. In Nick Niehaus's opinion, you've got Trimble, then Waterford, then the rest of the conference, all the way down to Fed Hawk. To see these 9 teams in action, make sure to tune in to Gridiron Glory on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB. And keep up with all of our mid content, too. We're posting it all on woub.org/gridiron and on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube. For Nick Niehaus, I'm Noah Wolf.
Coming up, pre-game rituals are common in sports, but players aren't the only ones who have them in the area. What some local coaches do before games. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your local PBS station.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
This fall is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop.
And every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall.
Which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you.
And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage.
So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Players are not the only ones that have pregame rituals and traditions. Gridiron Glory host Blake Baker asked coaches from our area what theirs are.
You guys obviously have a lot to prepare coming into a game. So do the players, but I'm always curious about your guys' routines. You know, as a player, at one time I kind of knew, I feel like what the players do before a game. What about you guys?
Routine. Yeah, I try to keep busy, so keep your mind off my, like I helped set up the end zone camera. I know Coach Hall got on me a couple years ago, like, hey, that's not your job, but hey, it makes the time go by a lot faster. So just something to do because, hey, I get as nervous as the kids. So, you still get that good feeling, the butterflies in your stomach, and I think when that goes, that's probably time for me to walk away.
Things I do before a game, Coach and I always make a nice little drive before a game. Also, I am watching film till kickoff. I'm a film rat. So I'm constantly watching to see if I miss something. So.
That's the same. Love the film. I kind of like to go in the coach's office by myself, just go over the final things, make sure I'm not missing anything. If this happens, what do we do here? If this happens, what do we do here? Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. Make sure everything's crossed. And
for sure.
go for there.
Again, a lot of preparation, but you got to make sure you get some relaxation in there too, kind of get your mind right.
Yeah.
So I figured as much. I figured there'd be a lot of film work as well, knowing some coaches I've had in the past too.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Steven Hernandez. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.